In Module 12, we will talk about multi-dimensional array, and we focus on two-dimensional array. So this one will be the last section from textbook chapter 7. In the past couple weeks, we talked about array and vector. So here we will start talking about multi-dimensional array. What means multi-dimensional array? If you remember from the past couple weeks, we introduced array. We can define an array like, so for example, here we create one int array. So then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data in a group. So this one is the array we introduced. And also this array is we call one dimension because you see they are just a one row of the number. But sometimes you see if I want to have two group of the integer number. So should I create two different array? Or can I try to using these two group of number into one array? Right, that's all up to you. Of course, if you have two group of the number, you can just create another array. So for example, here, you can create another array we call array B. So maybe this array B is, the number is other number. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mean each quiz. So that's the number of the quiz. So here I have the quiz score. So you can use the two array to associate a group of number you want to have. That's what we call the parallel array. But actually here we will talk about multi-dimensional array mean you have multiple group of number. I don't want to declare them in two separate array. So then here is we call the multi-dimensional array. For example, here I want to have 2D dimensional array. So from here we need to specify the row and the column. So that means here, for example, I have one group of 5 number and the second group of the 5 number. So then when I have these two, I want to make them in one array. So then I just declare like this. So you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the first group. So then the 78, then to 61 is the second group. So then I make them in the initializer. So that's why you can see here is the first group. This one is the second group. So then we make them in one array. So then this one is we call the two-dimensional array. You have the first number to talk about how many group you have. So then the second one is each group you have how many number. So that's the two-dimensional array. So of course, in C++ or Java or any programming language, we can even have three-dimensional array or more than that. But in this class, we only talk about the two-dimensional array. So after you understand the syntax of two-dimensional array, we will see how to pass a two-dimensional array through the function and how to find the sum of row and the column. So then let's see here about the syntax of two-dimensional array. So just like earlier we showed you, if we want to have an array, two-dimensional array, the first thing, right, you still need to have your data type. So we have the int data type. So then you still have your array name. For example, the array name we call exam. So if that's a two-dimensional array, you have two square brackets. Okay, so the first square bracket, usually we say that's the rows. Then the second one is a column. So like earlier I said, the first one means how many group of the set of number you have. So then in each group of the set number, we have the same numbers in each group. So that's why when we define one array for multiple set of data, for example, like the two-dimensional array, that would be like a table of the spreadsheet. You see like here, you see you have two group of the number, but usually you will see in the table, they look like this. right? So you have the first row, second row. So that's why we usually say the two-dimensional array, they're similar like a table. Or you see, for example, like your Excel, the table, the spreadsheet, actually that's a two-dimensional array because you have the number of the row, you have the number of column. So when you have the declaration of a two-dimensional array, we have two sides to declare the array. So the first one, you have one size. Here, maybe we just say that's the size of the row, how many rows we have. Then the second one is the size of the column. So then here in the array declaration, both number, you can give them instant number. For example, you have 4 rows, you just put a 4. And you have 3 columns, you can put a 3. Otherwise, if you want to have a variable to specify the size, that will be the same as we talk about in regular array. You need to be the constant variable. So the first square bracket specify the number of rows. The second one, number of columns. So here we declare an array that have 4 rows. Each row you have 3 columns. How they look like? Okay, so after we declare the array like this, so that's our declaration. So after you declare, the memory look like this. Okay, so like we say, we have 4 rows. So you see here is the row. Horizontally is the row. Okay, so we have 1 row, 2 rows, and 3 and 4. So then you can see each row we have 3 numbers. So that's each row we have 3 columns. So that's why you will see you have 4 times 3. Total you have 12 elements in this two-dimensional array. The same thing, we can use the index to access each element. So we're using the array name. The same thing, the rows start from 0. So we have first row. Even we say that's the first row, but they are start from index 0. So you see the first index, there's the number of the row. They are all 0. So then next row, you see the index start from 1. Then the next row, index start from 2. The next row, index start from 3. So they will have the same row, they have the same number in the first index. So once we have the row zeros, then you have the first element, second element, and the next element that we say column. And of course, the column, we start from 0 as well. Because remember, for array, the index will always start from 0. So that's why you can access each element. So then, for example, if you want to access the element, right? So then I want to assign the second row, but actually the third row, index equal to second, that means the third row. And the second index, that will be the third row. So then will be 2, 2. So then you can using this index and the index of column and row to assign the value equal to 86. So you can see here, when I write the exams 2, 2, that just means this location. So the value here actually is, after I assign 86, this memory location. So here the exam 2, 2 just represent this location. But then we can override the value equal to 86. So that's how you access each element. So like we say here, after you define a two-dimensional array, the data type is int. You have your array name. You have the number of rows, number of columns. So here you only declare the array. So after declaration, we just assign the memory location. But each element, the value, actually is unknown because they were from the past memory location what the value is. So if you want to declare your two-dimensional array and assign the value, right, we can using the initializer. Remember, we have the initialization in the array. We're using the curly braces. So right, if you want, you can do the same thing for the two-dimensional array. So here we just want to save some space. Maybe I just want to have my exam is 2 row, 2 column. So then when I declare this array, I specify row and column. Then right away I'm using the equal sign. So here you will see here, your red curly braces just mean the whole initialization for my array. But because I'm two-dimensional array, so that's why I can separate the first initialization. The first curly braces is for the first row. So then I have the second row. Because one thing is, even we say we have two-dimensional array, we have row and column. Two-dimensional array simply just mean you have multiple one-dimensional array. So that's why you have one array, 2 number. Then see here, I can use the other color so you will see more clear. So then the second row actually is the second array we have. So that's why when you have your one braces, that means the first row. So then the second braces mean the second row. So one thing is you can either omit the inner braces, you just do one by one. Or sometimes I really prefer you guys do this. Because sometimes, for example, if I don't want to assign this value, I just want to assign the second value is 0, I can just do like this way. If you just have a curly braces mean 84, they will know they will fill out the value from the first array with the number 84. And remember before, if the initializer you don't have enough value, we just fill out with 0. So that's why the inner curly braces can help you to fill out the rest of the number with 0. Okay. So then you can omit the inner braces, but I will prefer you to have that. And also the same thing, if you want to have the second row is only 0, you can just do like this. So then you see we don't have any number here. So then we just initialize the number with 0. So that's the initializer. After we understand how to define or declare a two-dimensional array, let's display that on the console so you will see that. So that's why here that's implement a show value function. So we need to pass in the two-dimensional array through the function. So when you pass in the two-dimensional array through the function, the same thing you just need to pass with your array name. So after we understand how to declare a two-dimensional array, we see how we will pass the two-dimensional array through the function. So we can display each element in the array. So when you want to pass in the array through the function, of course, you still pass in the array name. So here, when you define the function you want to pass a two-dimensional array, you need to have your data type specified. For example, here, the two-dimensional array, you are expecting an int array. Then, before, remember, we'll have the first square bracket to represent the array. So since you have two-dimensional array, so that's why you have 2 square brackets. And we expecting the second square bracket size. So here, when you're using the declare the two-dimensional array in the function, so then you need to have the second one, the column number, be specified. So most of the time, this one, if using the variable, that will be the constant variable. So then we can make sure the array you passing, we know each row they have how many columns. That should be fixed. Then you can see here we have the second variable. So this second variable actually is passing the number of your row. So that's number of the row. So here you will passing an array, the column number being fixed. Then